Welcome back to Calhoun County's Most Wanted. I'm your host, Chris Wright, along with Matthew Wade, our Chief Deputy. It's good to see you, Matthew.
Always good to be on the show.
You survived another race weekend.
Man, I tell you what, this was a busy race weekend in the North Campground where we work. It was just busy. Nothing major, just people having a good time and things happening.
All right. Well, glad everything went okay, and glad that you're here, and are glad that our audience is here as well, and that they keep doing the great job that they've been doing since the day we started this show over 11 years ago. Every week we've had arrests thanks to our viewers, and this week no exception.
Hey, 4 arrests, we'll take it. Great job. Brings our count up to 3,526 people put in jail. And, you know, we've never been let down, Chris, and that's just truly amazing after 11 years. So.
It is. All right, well, this week is a special week. I'm going to try not to say this wrong, because we had it on the news last night, and Vanessa said Red Ribbon Week is Red Ribbon Week.
Red Ribbon Week is this week.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. What it is a DEA agent was killed in the early 80s. They ended up doing a memorial. They gave out red ribbons to law enforcement officers to wear. That's turned into drug awareness, which turned into the week that we have now, where across America, in schools, presentations are being made. People are talking to kids about drugs, what not to do, what to look for. And it's just important. So many lives are ruined because they make that decision at some point to try something. You know, I've met a lot of people that have substance abuse issues in my 20-year career. Not one of them has ever told me that they wished, that they were glad they were addicted, that they were super happy that they ever started. Every one of them has told me that, you know, I don't know why I did it, I wished I could stop, but now that I'm hooked, I can't. And it's all because they made a decision at some point to try it, to start with. Somebody sold them something, told them it was okay, that it wouldn't hurt them, and it does. And this week, yesterday at Alexandria, we had Lance Dyer come in. His son killed himself at 15 years old while on Spice. He looked at a full-length mirror, took a gun, and shot himself. Watched him kill his own self. Lance goes across the country and talks to kids about the dangers of synthetic drugs, and he uses that tragedy to turn something into good, and he tosses a football to kids and tells the star athlete, hold this ball, I want it back. And at the end, he goes, give me my football back. The guy throws it back to him, and he tells him, says, you know, I used to throw ball with my kid, but now I have to do it with a total stranger because he chose to do drugs. And if we can stop one kid anywhere from ruining their life so they can fulfill their dreams, that's what we want to do. We want to educate them so we're not having to deal with them. You know, an arrest is a last resort. You know, I believe in educating. Talk to your kids. Tell them what not to do. Tell them the consequences, and shoot them straight.
You know, a lot of kids don't realize that there are some illegal drugs that theoretically might not be that harmful for if you take it one time. Some of them, you know that they really, really are. But even with the ones that you might think, well, this might not be somewhat damaging, if you're buying it illegally, you're probably not getting a pure substance. You never know what's in there.
You know, especially in the word synthetic, I call them synthetic drugs. Some people call it synthetic marijuana. It's not like marijuana.
No.
These synthetic drugs are a chemical. It's more like meth, cocaine, heroin. It's I think it's worse than any of those. It's just terrible. And kids don't know what they're getting. They're getting a chemical that was made in China that's mixed with acetone and put on some substance by somebody. And there's videos out there. If they go to YouTube, you can see kids that are perfectly okay. They take 2 puffs of that, and they're dead 3 or 4 minutes later. And the trick, I truly believe, is teaching people, convincing people that I should never try it in the first place. If you never try it, you don't have to worry about getting unaddicted to something. And you know, that's my motto. That's what I try to do. And I love Diet Cokes. You know, I'm not saying that's equivalent to somebody addicted to a drug, but I gave up Diet Cokes 10 weeks ago, and that's probably been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. So I can only imagine what it's like for a substance like that. But if we never start, you don't have to, and it's education.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to wash my camo so I'm ready for hunting season.
Get that stuff out of my washer. You should take it to a laundromat.
There isn't any good laundries around here.
Sure there is. Washington Aniston Coin Laundry on Quintard across from Walgreens and beside the Social Security office.
They have a washer that can handle a real man's jacket?
They have the biggest washers and dryers around, and you can get all your stuff finished within an hour.
Awesome. I'm headed to Washington Aniston Coin Laundry at 829 Quintard, and then I can take the rest of the day to get my other gear ready.
Or maybe you can finish the yard work.
Yeah, right after I sight my bow.
Big news for homebuyers searching through all those complicated mortgage options. AOD Federal Credit Union is now offering new, out-of-the-box mortgage solutions. Mortgage loan manager Jamie Bailey will help find the best rates and quickest approval for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, Jumbo, HARP, and more. Call Jamie Bailey at 256-241-8218. Out-of-the-box mortgage services. Reason number 4 that you belong with AOD Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Katina Houston Stroud with Family Links, and this is the Family Tip of the Week. Here's the situation. You specifically told your teen to be home by 9 p.m. It's almost 10 o'clock and you're sick with worry. As you pick up the phone to call your teen again, the front door opens. You can't even contain your emotion. You begin yelling the questions. Where have you been? Do you realize how worried I was? You never answered your phone. I said to be home by 9, not 10. And feeling under attack, your teen fires back with, why are you making such a big deal out of it? I was the last one to get dropped off and my phone died. It's only been an hour. Who cares? But you care. And out of anger, you give enough consequences to last until your child's 18th birthday. If you can relate to this challenging parenting scenario, you're not alone. It's common for parents to go from 0 to 100 when their values are compromised. In this case, the parent values safety, communication, and rules around curfew. And the parent feels like the teen's response mocks these values, which triggers a strong emotional reaction. Often without realizing it, we are parenting from a sense of panic, urgency, and fear. We are reacting to triggers that are continually setting off internal alarms. So ask yourself, are you angry because your teen appears to take curfew lightly? Do you feel hurt because your teen doesn't acknowledge your worry? Are you concerned with safety because it's something that happened to you when you were young? These are all good questions to ask yourself. Additionally, being aware of what pushes your buttons will help you recognize when you're in danger of overreacting. There are also physical sensations that come with being triggered, like heat rushing to your cheeks, tense muscles, and ringing ears. If you feel these coming on, it's a good time to put some distance between yourself and your emotional response to your teen. You can say to yourself, I don't have to fix this right now. I can talk about it later or tomorrow when I have a clear head. Remember, negative behaviors have to be addressed. However, you can plan a more calm and effective response to your child's behavior when you recognize your emotional triggers. For more parenting tips, please call Family Links at 256-820-5911.
All right, let's take a look at the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We're going to start with Ashley Shears of Aniston. She is wanted on a probation violation for second-degree theft of property. Edward Jones of Aniston, wanted for failure to appear for obstructing justice using a false ID. Kimberly Bracca of Aniston, wanted on probation revocation for trafficking in illegal drugs. Franklin McCormick of Aniston, wanted for failure to appear for the unlawful manufacture of a controlled substance. Antonio Rawls from Aniston, wanted on a probation violation for second-degree receiving stolen property. Jimmy Rich of Alexandria, wanted for a probation violation for second-degree receiving stolen property. And Christopher Bryan of Piedmont, wanted for a probation violation for violating the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. That's the first half of this week's lineup. We'll have more coming up in just a few minutes. If you have any information about these cases, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. All right, we are back here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted, and it's a Halloween week. You got any treats for us?
Tell you what, I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve, but I'll save them for later.
Well, it's always a treat to have Katina Houston Stroud join us. Good to see you, Katina.
Good to see you. I'm glad to be here.
And I see you brought somebody with you today.
I did. This is Tommy Harrison, and he can speak for himself, but he is the Y-Try facilitator at Family Links, and we'll talk a little bit more about what he does there.
You've got a new program, right? Empowering Parents. So, Tommy, tell us about Empowering Parents. What are we doing, and what's your role?
Empowering Parents is a new program that we're trying at Family Links. And my portion of it is teaching the young adults the adolescents. I do that with my program that I do there on a normal basis, the Why Try program. It is a program that facilitates what I like to call resiliency training for young people. It deals a lot with young people who have behavioral issues and problems at home and at school.
Now, while you're dealing with the kids, Katina, you or someone else dealing with the parents, right?
Yes, myself and Melanie Hollingsworth, who wanted to be here today, but she's out on emergency surgery leave with her foot. We are the facilitators for the parent part of Empowering Parents. And, you know, anyone who's familiar with Family Links knows for a long time we had a parenting program called Parent Project. And I still believe strongly in Parent Project, but, you know, sometimes programs progress as behaviors progress and times change. And so the difference with this program, Empowering Parents, is that it is a behavioral modification program that really emphasizes a culture of accountability. I think it's gone so far in our society now that no one is responsible for their behavior. We see it on the news, like athletes and superstars, they get away with things that, you know, really they should be held accountable for. And so our kids are watching this. And so this teaches parents how to have a culture of accountability in their home. Not only for the kids, you know, that they're responsible for their actions, but parents have to mean what they say when they say it. And so that's the theme.
Tommy, tell us about, while you're talking to these kids, I know you're speaking to them, but they speak to you as well.
Absolutely.
What are you hearing from these kids, not anybody specific, but
Absolutely.
in general, what are you hearing from kids today when they're talking about their parents and how they wish that relationship could be a little different?
A lot of things that I hear from the young people of today is they wish they had a better bridge of communication with their parents. A lot of times have changed, and they feel like their parents don't understand what's really going on in their lives. So the biggest thing that I seem to have an issue with is the bridge of communication between parents and their children.
Yeah. If they don't talk to each other, they end up talking to you, don't they, Matthew?
They do, you know, and him saying that, I sit there and think, with technology today, we have more ways to communicate than ever.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe those things might become barriers. Instead of sitting down and talking to each other at their dinner table, everybody's got their device out in their face and on social media seeing what everybody else is putting out there for their families.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the kids say, your parents say, why didn't you tell me about this? Well, I put it on Instagram.
Right. Yes,
I Snapchatted my buddy about it.
yeah. It's funny that you say that, Matthew, because with all the means of communication, less communication is actually going on. And parents who text to their children that are downstairs or in the same room, I say, what are you doing? You know, what has happened that you can't have an actual face-to-face conversation with your child anymore?
You know, and I have to say, you know, there's times I'm upstairs and I text my daughter to come here, you know, or something. So that happens, and that's something. But we do at my house. We sit at the table and we eat dinner together, and I think just something as simple as that is a good start.
I do too.
And a lot of times we don't communicate, and then there's a problem, and now it's time to communicate. But we haven't built that trust level in the communication that we're just going to start yelling or telling them they're wrong.
Right.
So, Tommy, is that something you're seeing a lot with the kids?
Yes, and a lot of times with the young people of this age, they feel that when their parents speak to them, they're on a specific level with their parents, as also they see them as their peers. When there's a disconnect between parental units and young people, you have a lot of disrespect that occurs, and they don't understand that they're their parents and not their peers.
Is that the perception that the kids are having because they want to be like the parents, or is that the parents wanting to be the friend, or is it a combination of the two?
You actually hit the nail on the head. It's probably a combination of both. A lot of times you see parents that are not the parents from my time, that when they said something, they meant it. It's more of a compromise thing. It's more of one of those things like, if you want to, you can. There are not a lot of parameters and barriers and things that are in place that are concrete that are saying that I'm the parent and you're the child. So a lot of times, a lot of respect is lost for the parents.
Yeah, we think we're being nice to the kids, but we're really not doing them any favors, are we, Katina?
No, we're not. We find that a lot of parents, especially the parents that are in my current group, they are doing a lot of guilty parenting. like parenting because there are a lot of broken homes right now, parenting because a divorce has occurred, parenting because it's grandparents being the parents instead of the biological parents because those parents are incarcerated or on drugs or were too young when they had the kids. And so parents are guilty parenting and giving kids everything and saying yes to everything. And then when it's time to lay down the law, the kid's looking like, why all of a sudden are you wanting to be a parent?
Right.
If you start at 15, it's probably a little late.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, we're a little bit late for a break, so we need to take a quick one. We will be right back and talk more, and we'll have the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford for the best cars and best price.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
a crackhead, drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak, a wretch like me.
I once was
Homeless,
broken, sad,
just lost.
but now I am
Sober,
happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
Big news for homebuyers searching through all those complicated mortgage options. AOD Federal Credit Union is now offering new, out-of-the-box mortgage solutions. Mortgage loan manager Jamie Bailey will help find the best rates and quickest approval for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, HARP, and more. Call Jamie Bailey at 256-241-8218. Out-of-the-box mortgage services. Reason number 4 that you belong with AOD Federal Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA. All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
And we're back to the bad guys. The second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted starts with Timothy Green of Oxford. He is wanted for a probation violation for second-degree theft of property and obstruction of justice using a false ID. Natasha Bolden of Oxford is wanted for 2 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card. Sabrina Bonner from Jacksonville wanted for non-payment of child support. She owes $17,232. Shanika Welch of Talladega is wanted on a probation revocation for third-degree theft of property. Wendy Wise of 5 Points wanted for failure to appear for domestic violence harassment. And Lori Witten of Oxford wanted for use and possession of drug paraphernalia. That's the lineup for this week. If you have any information about these cases, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers. You could get a cash reward of up to $1,000. Their number is 256-238-1414. We'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show coming up in just a few minutes. Also, a crazy criminal, and if you're a fan of The Walking, do you like The Walking Dead?
Oh, yes.
I guess so.
Yes.
You might not like it as much after this.
Oh, goodness. I'm
Or at
already
least you'll be
traumatized
careful who
from
you watch
Sunday.
it with.
Oh, okay.
Katina Houston Stroud and Tommy Harrison with us, and we're talking about the new project at Family Links for parents, the Empowering Parents
Yes.
program.
Yes.
And we've got the program running right now. We're about 3/4 of the way through with the first run, right?
Yes, it's a 7-week-long program, and they meet once a week for 2 hours. We're on our 4th week of it currently, this season's class, but we will start again in January. We'll give a little break for the holidays because it's hard to get people to come every week during Thanksgiving and Christmas time. But we'll start back in January with a new class for 7 weeks, both here and in Cleveland County.
And is this like the holiday travel? Do we need to book early?
Well, we take them up until day of, but it is suggested, we do suggest that or recommend that you call ahead of time, get on the list, because our group room is not very large. So if we end up with too many, we'll have to put some off for the second class, which will be in the springtime. But I encourage anyone to go ahead and call right now.
I'm going to ask you something, Tommy. I think a lot of parents assume that their kids are really going to hate them for making them go to a program like this.
Yes.
Do you find some kids that are really grateful that their parents have decided to do this?
Initially, no. Unfortunately, no. But by the time we get in the group setting and I make the atmosphere comfortable for them, I allow it to be a speakeasy for them, to let them know that we're looking to help you become a better you. So when they get that understanding, they feel a lot more comfortable. They let their guard down, and we can really start getting to the root of the issue of what's really going on with them.
They've got to trust you a lot.
They do, and that's primarily my goal in building rapport with the young people. They have to feel like you're trustworthy and that you really care about them.
How do they know you're trustworthy? Why should we trust you?
Because I tell them the truth. I tell them that I'm not a perfect person and I still deal with some of the same things that they deal with. I feel that young people, if they see that you're on the same level they are, the things that they go through, they're more apt to open up to you and speak truthfully and honestly with you if you give them the same thing first.
And continue, it's important to have somebody else beside the parents that these kids, a lot of them don't have a good person. They've got people they can talk to,
Right.
but not the right people to talk to sometimes. And you know, one of the things I believe, I coached soccer for little kids before I ever had any kids. When my kids got old enough, I'd say, I want somebody else to coach my kids because there's a special bond there, player-coach. I know you see that, Matthew.
I coached football and baseball, and I did it for several years, and then I had the same thought. I said, you know what, they need to have somebody else teach them. They need to have somebody else. And it's really good to have coaches in your life. I call them coaches.
Yes.
I look at it as the Paul Timothy. Everybody needs a Paul in their life. It's a mentor, and everybody, you need to be looking for a mentor, and you need to be looking for somebody to mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And it's not like you're handing off your child and that responsibility. You're just giving them a broader base of adults that they can look to.
Absolutely. Tommy's program is a mentoring program. So the foundation of it is that he's mentoring them. So when you were talking about trust, he is the peer. Well, I won't say peer because they respect him much more than that, and he demands it or calls for it. But he is someone that they can talk to. And I've been doing counseling for over 10 years. Sometimes parents will say to me, I told my child exactly what you told them. Why did they do it? And I say it's because it was coming from you. And not that we undermine a parent's authority or what they're saying, but sometimes a child has to hear it from a different place than from the person that's in the home with them.
Get them into a youth group at church. Get them into the Boys and Girls Club. Just you don't have to do everything, but do something so that it's not just in our house and at school or hanging out with your friends. There's got to be something else there where an adult is there and you can talk and have that two-way. So great. The parents, what kind of response are you having so far here with the new program?
Well, they love it. I've actually had the Chief Juvenile Probation Officer, Grant Hockman, call and tell me that a parent called him that was made to complete the program and say, I'm really enjoying this program. And the same question you asked him about the teens, we have parents too that don't want to be there, that are court ordered in the beginning. But matter of fact, this happened last week. One parent came in and she said, I'm just here because DHR said I have to be, and I don't want to participate. She was the most active participant by the end of the class, and I thanked her at the end. We talked one-on-one, and I said, I appreciate you being here, and she said, I'm glad I came. So sometimes we're resistant, just like with exercise or anything else in the beginning, but it's so beneficial at the end. And once you get just one taste of, this really works, you're sold.
Absolutely.
Sometimes our biggest growth, our biggest change in our life is when we're out of our comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And that's the hardest place to get. So having somebody push you out of your comfort zone, a lot of times you can get the biggest growth.
So if people want to find out some more, we're going to be having the new class will start in January.
Yes.
How can they contact you?
They need to contact Family Links 256-820-5911. Someone will do a referral, and the referral process is really easy. Just a couple of questions. We'll get them signed up. There is a charge for the class. It's $50 for the entire class, but you don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay it weekly. And if money is an obstacle, don't let that stop you from contacting us because we can work things out. We want everybody to benefit from this program.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm so excited about it because I just think it's a little bit different than any other parenting program. So just call us and we'll help out.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show and the Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Your word is rigmarole.
Can you define it?
A long, complicated, and annoying process.
Can you use it in a sentence?
The last time I tried to buy a car, I just got a big load of rigmarole.
Well, you should have gone to Jacksonville Auto Sales.
Jacksonville Auto Sales across from Walmart in Jacksonville, or find us on the web at jascars.com. Remember, Jacksonville Auto Sales, home of the no rigmarole deal.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to wash my camo so I'm ready for hunting season.
Get that stuff out of my washer. You should take it to a laundromat.
There isn't any good laundries around here.
Sure there is. Washington Anderson Coin Laundry on Quintard across from Walgreens and beside the Social Security office.
They have a washer that can handle a real man's jacket?
They have the biggest washers and dryers around, and you can get all your stuff finished within an hour.
Awesome. I'm headed to Washington Anderson Coin Laundry at 829 Quintard, and then I can take the rest of the day to get my other gear ready.
Or maybe you can finish the yard work.
Yeah, right after I sight my bow.
All right, it's time to see what crimes have been committed that we need your help in solving. We're going to start on October 21st at approximately 7:30 that evening. The victim was sitting in his car, parked in a field on Martin Luther King Drive in Hobson City. As he was sitting in his car, a couple of individuals came up to his vehicle. They both had firearms and they ordered him out of the car. Instead, he took off in his vehicle. They started shooting. He wrecked nearby. The victim did sustain some injuries from that wreck. Between October 18th and 19th, a Stihl chainsaw and a Bostitch nail gun were stolen from a building on Rocky Hollow Road in Jacksonville. Between October 18th and 20th, a Husqvarna chainsaw and a game camera were stolen from a residence on Mollett Lane in Alexandria. October 21st, a Horton utility trailer was stolen from a residence on Boiling Springs Road in Oxford. You see the residence and the suspect. The video surveillance revealed a white male driving a white Ford F-150, stealing the trailer. Between October 3rd and October 17th, the residence on Jesse Woodrow in Piedmont was broken into. A Troy-built push mower, silverware, and assorted DVDs were stolen. On October 19th, a Motor Guide trolling motor was stolen from a residence on Highway 431 in Alexandria. We have video surveillance revealing a male suspect attempting to gain entry into a barn at the residence. He was unable to gain entry, and then he stole the trolling motor from outside the barn. Between October 12th and 21st, a storage building located on Highway 204 in Wellington was broken into. A Honda generator, an air compressor, a chainsaw, a weed eater, and 2 miter saws were stolen. If you have any information about any of these cases or other cases, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. They want your information, not your name, and you could get a cash reward of up to $1,000.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, be careful who you watch The Walking Dead with, okay? Now this show, what we talk about is real, right?
Yeah.
Not everything that you see on television is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody should have told Damon Perry about that. He was watching The Walking Dead with a friend of his, and apparently about halfway through the show, he begins to believe that his friend Christopher Packin is turning into a zombie. So what do you do?
Oh my goodness, I'm scared to ask.
He beat his friend with his hands, feet, a microwave, and an electric guitar. This is sad. He actually killed his friend.
You know, it is sad, but I would firmly believe that there's got to be something else in that story. He had to be on drugs, meth, or something to make him get to that point. I just find it hard to believe he just believed the television show by himself.
Something's messing with his mind, whether it was drugs or just an unstable mental condition. Something wasn't right. But yeah, just because you see it on television or the internet doesn't mean that it's true. If you find yourself believing that someone is turning into a zombie, please call 911 before you try to deal with that zombie yourself.
Absolutely. It'll save you from a lifetime in prison.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for this week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. If you missed part of the show, you can go to the TV24 website and watch it on demand from the beginning, and you can also catch up on the information at our Facebook page as well. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.